Do you dare to make a prediction about the next 100 days and how it might go? Or more specifically, how you think the next 100 days differs, if at all, from the first 100 days?
Well, the next 100 days, it's going to get real. It's going to get real for the Trump administration because it's going to move from the executive orders and the court battles Trump always wants to win on appeal. So we're going to see a lot of results from those executive orders coming out. But we're also going into a session with Congress where they have to pass a budget. And the Treasury Department this week is going to come out and say basically when the debt limit will be exceeded. And it's going to put pressure on to get a reconciliation bill. And that's something that the Speaker of the House is down talking to the president about today. They may have cuts to Medicaid. They may have cuts to Social Security. How will the Republicans in Congress be able to stomach that in order to pay for all the tax cuts and the other things Trump wanted to put into place? So I think this is where it gets real because Congress has to put that package together. They've got to get the votes to pass it. And, like to Robert's point, just talking about 28, Trump's most likely not running again. But guess what? All those Republicans in Congress are. And in the last few months, when there have been state elections, they've gone to the Democrats. And right now, it looks like a midterm election next year would possibly go to the Democrats. So this is where it's not just covering his own backside, but it's the Republicans in Congress trying to figure out how they can cover theirs while still pleasing the president. That negotiation this summer on the budget is really going to be where it gets real.
Yeah, I think Laura's right, and the kind of chickens coming home to roost in terms of prices, inflation here, but also just in terms of shortages. I mean, we've seen stories about sort of half-empty ships leaving China, heading to the US because Chinese manufacturers have decided just not to send stuff because of the tariff situation. I saw a table online of prices that one big Chinese manufacturer was putting out with enormous increases in things like bath towels, for example, increasing threefold in price. So I think a lot of that economic pain is yet to come, and that will feed through to real Americans who will start to wonder, hang on, what on earth is going on here? Either I can't buy the things I want to, or they're exorbitantly expensive. So there is going to be some economic pain and some economic chickens coming home to roost. And, if his approval rating is bad now, then, I think we can expect it might get even worse.
Yeah, excellent point, Dan. I mean, that issue of, and Laura as well, both make excellent points about how the supply chain, issue, that is going to be potentially the story of the next 100 days. You can cause disruption with those tariffs on day one, but you're only going to see the impact perhaps over the next 3 months or so. Look, I'm going to be watching that. I'm going to be watching Ukraine. Can he pull off a ceasefire, however sort of compromised it is in terms of whether he swallows the Russian narrative. I mean, that is such a critical issue in terms of whether kind of Europe can move forward beyond that conflict. I'm watching the humanitarian disaster in Gaza, wondering really if that sort of strangulation of innocent Palestinians is going to continue. So there's so many issues that are in Donald Trump's in tray. And I think the other great issue is one I mentioned earlier. Can he, against the odds, sort of hit and strike, unilateral or bilateral trade deals with some of the big nations of the world to try and get trade flowing again? So all of those are big issues. All of those will shape essentially the next 18 months of Donald Trump's America, and perhaps determine who wins Congress in 2026.